Hello, welcome to the Special Moves podcast. This is episode 42. My name is Mike Williams, and these guys are Jake Kukowski and Liam McKelvey.
Hello.
Hiya.
All right.
Yep. Very
Not bad.
well, thank you.
You're wearing your Esther's t-shirt this time.
Yeah. The one.
Yeah.
Well,
For anyone who's been following the saga, we got given some t-shirts last week.
someone left a comment saying that they would have bought this from me unwashed, right? Gutted to find out that my wife had washed it, because I would have done that. So sorry, this is it. So maybe we've got a second chance at this.
Real.
You know, like they're selling Gamer Girl bathwater. I just sell my unwashed t-shirts.
They're selling what?
Oh, let's start things off, and I'll bring that up.
Tell me about that right now. I can't let
You
that
don't
slide.
know about this? Oh, come on. You're such an innocent man. Like, yeah, Mike is well out of it with all these memes and stuff. Probably good for his mental health, to be honest, yeah.
Liam's trying his best there. It was on the Guardian, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like trying
Didn't
to
you read
like,
it?
Yeah, exactly.
that's how big it's been. Like meme
Yeah.
culture has
So
somehow made it into like the mainstream
So
newspapers and
there's
stuff.
this girl called Belle Delphine. She's like an e-girl, kind of one of them
Okay.
ones. The ones that like have patrons, and after a certain dollar tier, she sells naked pictures of herself, basically.
Great.
But like they call it like lewd and boudoir, and they try and use all these words to make it not. It's naked
French
pictures of
words. They
myself.
just took
Yeah,
French
yeah,
words
exactly.
to like class it up a bit.
But more on that in
Cool.
a second, actually, because basically she started selling for $30, even though she's based in the UK, like a jar of her bathwater, and it went massively viral, like Joe Rogan and all this talking about it, because
Oh, missed that somehow.
it's exactly. How the Guardian and Joe Rogan.
Listen,
they're the
why
two
is
pillars.
everyone listening to the Joe Rogan podcast?
No,
then?
it's
What-
just. I'll tell you why. It's as simple as this. Log out of YouTube and go on YouTube.
Yeah.
His bald little head and his that's fascinating.
Recommended
face
everywhere.
Is everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything's fascinating, Joe.
But
we get
that's
it.
the chicken and egg thing, isn't it? It's like who? What?
Yeah.
But someone would have been listening to him to begin with. But
Of course, and I don't know if it's because he has like very like modern day guests on there, like he has like Elon Musk and shit like that. Do you know what I mean?
high caliber of guest. Maybe.
Yeah, like he had Bob Lazar, like the big original Area 51 conspiracy theorist, the guy that brought Area 51 to the public.
Right.
He was on there, so they have like loads of like big like guests for like Gen Z and millennials.
Right.
Anyway, so it got even to like there, and it's a girl. She's selling a bathwater for $30. That's it. It's water that she's bathed in. It's sold out, by the way. Everyone's talking about how ridiculous it is. It's sold out.
Yeah.
But you know what? Yeah, and loads of people online, especially like streamers, like female streamers, are like, "Yeah, you go, girl," because all the shit about girl gamers get out of the internet. But you're buying our bathwater kind of thing. So at the end of the day,
Which is
hustle.
you win an argument
Exactly.
straight away.
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
don't you?
No one's lining up to buy male bathwater, are they?
Yeah.
So, but just wanted to a little quick point here, a little bit of housekeeping here, yeah? Everybody that does idolise Belle Delphine, don't. Because you know what, yeah? It's come out recently that these lewd pictures that she's selling of herself she's stolen them from porn stars, amateur porn stars.
Right.
She's finding ones that have kind of got a similar body as her, and she's selling them. So, like, a couple of porn stars have come out and said, like, yeah.
How can we trust your bathwater then? Do you know what I mean?
Well, Liam actually hit on the facts.
There was a whole thing of some guy claiming to be a molecular biologist.
Right, was he on Reddit by any chance? Molecular biologist.
Well, I saw this on another podcast where, for some reason, that was the sole topic they were talking about.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
And so some person claiming to be a molecular biologist bought a jar of the bathwater
This is the most internet thing I've ever heard.
and claimed to like run it through like a DNA sequenizer or whatever.
He was trying to clone her originally, I'm sure.
And and discovered there was no DNA in the bathwater, so she didn't even bathe in that water.
There was no DNA in it.
Yeah.
So there was no human
because like
DNA
if someone
in
took a bath, like there'd be bits of
Skin
it.
it. I would imagine
Yeah.
there's just some
Like a
in the
hair-
water
like a
you
hair
drink anyway,
follicle.
isn't there? Like even
To some degree, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But
They discovered there was no human DNA in
yeah,
it.
right. Or maybe
Okay.
through the filtration systems of these.
It did have
See, it's a fascinating topic.
There
Right?
was something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it had like lavender scent in it or something.
Yeah, no, she'd said something like that. I think
Okay.
she's made a video on YouTube of her like flopping around in a bath. Just like, to show you that, flopping around
Magic
a bit.
carp.
Yeah,
Just,
they'd like that,
yeah.
though, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So it's a bit. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like, at the end of the day, it's always quite funny to see, like, especially like it's a very feminist thing, isn't it? Like, sell pictures of your body, because if people are gonna buy it, then do it, whatever. You know what I mean? There's this whole thing about it. But at the end of the day, she's selling stolen pictures of other people. Yeah, so she gets no props from me, no kudos from me. And
Yeah.
bathwater is probably just fucking tap water in it. So although it's a clever entrepreneurial decision on her behalf, she's still a swine. So Belle Delphine is a Thumbs down for me.
Okay.
But so that's the Game of Girl Bathwater saga. It's good.
That's about it. I mean, that's a strong start to
We've
any
hit the
podcast.
ground running.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody to podcast.
To this
43.
gaming podcast. Is it 43?
I think it's 43.
42.
It's 42.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay,
You
sorry.
fucking get a grip, mate.
Well, that was a mini podcast.
You're all excited about the bathwater, and you've lost track, man.
It was just exciting because I've seen it everywhere. It was exciting to just break the news to someone.
When the BBC cover a meme story, you know it's massive.
Yeah, man. I wonder. Do you know what though? I want to know how much money she's made from this.
So she's
Gotta
what,
be.
Twitch streamer or YouTube?
She's an Instagram influencer.
Yeah, she's no one.
Oh,
She just like, she
No.
put-
It's in like she's not like in a gaming sphere. She's what they call an e-girl.
She takes pictures of herself on Instagram with like, you know, pink wig, cat ears. And
She's
stuff like
a
that.
real life waifu. She's one of them.
Yeah.
She's like if a body pillow had come to life, and loads of girls do it. But you know, and I'm not going at these people. I'm just saying a lot of them will say.
Well, yeah, this isn't the Joe Rogan podcast.
Exactly, fascinating. Now, I think you know, like how at any point anyone from like Towie or The Only Way Is Essex or any reality TV show at some point become an author. You know, like that.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, one of these girls, they're all cosplayers. So I think that's what she is. If you look at what she's classed as, it's a cosplayer.
Okay.
But really, she's just taking titillating pictures of herself.
Right.
And just
Selling
smashing
some
it.
bathwater.
And the bathwater thing is genius, though. And what I love about it
amazing.
is it's like it's given us a meme for the ages.
Yeah.
It's given us I was at Twitch London a couple of weeks ago, and the price of beer was so expensive. What's in this? Game of Girl bathwater?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
good. Yeah,
I
like
love
it.
it. Cultural print altogether.
I'm well in favour of that.
If I don't see a Game of Girl bathwater t-shirt at Gamescom, not happy. Do you know what I mean?
PewDiePie got involved at one point.
Exactly, and even
did
he's
he?
yeah. So it's that meme level.
Well, there was a weird thing where she put a picture on Instagram saying if this gets 1 million likes, she'll make a Pornhub account.
Yeah.
And then she put up videos which weren't porn.
Yeah.
So people were like, she's a master troll, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Ha ha ha.
And then PewDiePie got involved from that because he did his his meme review thing, whatever he does.
Exactly. And Mike doesn't know what meme review is
Yeah,
probably as well.
it's
so
a whole.
like,
You're probably better
it's
off.
really
Just
cool.
tell me again what YouTube, right? So you put videos on there and
Yeah, and this goes out to hundreds of people online. Dare I say thousands?
Millions.
What crazy? Yeah, it's good that I liked it.
it's not on the television.
I
no?
liked that. Me and Liam kind of curate your portal into like.
Yeah, and guard it crucially as
No,
well.
that's
You
true.
know?
Yeah. It is. We are very much the keepers of the gate here.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like memes and stuff, you've
Yeah.
stayed. You know, you're not corrupted by it. It's good.
I don't give a fuck, mate. That's
exactly.
why, you know, that's,
Yeah, exactly.
But you're good at like, you know, I feel like that you've got a good grasp of like when I ask you stuff like not on the podcast and stuff. Sometimes you're like, you just don't worry about it. Like I'm not gonna. Come on, you just give me that face like that. Come on, I'm not gonna tell you about that. Let's just fucking move on.
Yeah,
innit?
exactly. So yeah, I guess that's, believe it or not, even though I don't think it was last week, it was a week or two ago. One of the biggest news stories, anyway.
That's just to say how
That's ticked off. That's going in the timestamps, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
there's not a lot of gaming news on this week.
Yeah,
Well,
Well,
there's a little bit. Well,
Yeah,
let's
there's
talk
a tiny
about.
bit. Yeah.
We'll do the news in a wee while. But Liam, you've been playing some Spyro again.
I did, because after finishing Judgment, you know, when you get that sort of that fugue state where you're like, you don't really want to play another massive game straight away.
Because that did take you 700 hours, didn't it? I think.
Near
Something
enough.
like that.
But so I was going through my PS4 library, as you do, just scrolling through and what can I play? What
Yeah.
can I play? And then I saw the Spyro Reignited trilogy, and I remembered I platinumed the first one, got halfway through the second one, and then dropped it for like a year.
Yeah. So it's
And-
the three Spyro. It's the
Yeah,
first
so
three
it's the
Spyro
three
games.
PS1 Spyro games
Yeah.
remade. And so I was like, I should just finish that, because they're really short games anyway. They're like 5 hours a piece, if that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, over the course of a few days, I finished Spyro 2 and 3.
How was it? Nice.
I didn't really have a good time, to be honest. I don't know why. I know I end up saying that a lot. Fucking King Kong and 2 Human as well.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a shit summer for you.
It's not been great, no. But yeah, so I played through Spyro, and it's not that I don't like Spyro. I do like Spyro, but I think the time for this sort of game has just like passed, really.
Yeah.
And
Really sad to hear, I guess.
yeah, and it's like, and I've mentioned to you before, like I was looking at the trophy list for like Spyro 2, and only like 20% of people had unlocked the first trophy in the game, which you get like 5 minutes into the game. So it shows that like most people didn't even bother touching anything past Spyro 1. So they obviously played it for like that 5-minute nostalgia blast, and I was like, "No, I'm bored."
It's mad as well because I'm getting the exact same thing with Crash Team Racing, where when you first fire it up, you're like, "Fucking hell, this is magical. This is amazing." Like the you know, it's like that thing of how you remember the game being as a kid, because it was like 20 years ago now for me at this point. But then you think like, you know, it used to be so colourful and bright, but then you actually see it, and it just is a series of boxes that are different colours and like little diamond shapes and that.
Yeah,
and you can like, oh, that's a cart, is it? But then now they just look so incredible, and they feel so good to play. But then after a while, after about half an hour,
the magic
almost,
wears off,
you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you realise it's like because it's still based on very limited mechanics, isn't it?
Yeah,
Crash Team Racing, I'm pretty much employing Sean's sister to play it for me. Like I'm like, get me the trophies, Emma, because she smashed it. Like she plays it like recently, like I told you.
Right.
So Sean's family still got the PS1 in the living room, and he's still playing the games. So it's kind of so Sean's sister, she's playing Crash Team Racing for me, and I'm having more fun watching her play it than myself. And then with Spyro, so that's like the big ultimate in their house. Like, you know, like you have like a household favourite. So I think for my family, and I think the favourites in our house were like Super Mario World and Donkey Kong Country, and then growing up a little bit older, Silent Hill 2, Resident Evil 1, and Tomb Raider. They were like the big ones. But so in Sean's house, like the big games were Spyro, and so I was like, I'll get the trilogy, like a big, like trying to like, look, Sean, video games, you like them sometimes? Yeah. And the camera made her feel sick, so she hasn't
Laura says that.
Yeah, some games don't affect her, like Apex Legends, first person, she doesn't feel sick, but Spyro, you know, every time like your head,
because you can't really manually control it all that well. It auto tracks behind Spyro all the time.
So she couldn't, regrettably, couldn't even play it more than time.
It's weird how it happens. It's like a weird concoction of like frame rate, field of view, motion blur and stuff, and then if all that sort of doesn't quite work out, then some people just sort of feel ill while they're
some people, a lot of people I know who have motion sickness in cars get it as well. But when so Sean gets motion sick when she's a passenger, but when she's driving, like she doesn't. So I don't know if that's it. Maybe like if you're watching it, it's different. But I don't know. Like I remember, like everybody's gone to the Rapture made her feel sick as well, and that's a bit of a weird one because there's no like UI.
Yeah, quite slow paced.
Yeah, exactly. So weird. But so Spyro is like the magic was kind of lost for us. So I got rid of it.
Same. I was sitting there playing through it, and I was just like, I played this 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's really not all that different apart from some nice shiny new graphics. I imagine if you get it for like, if you're a diehard Spyro fan, it's probably all you ever want, and it's probably good for like young kids as well.
Yeah,
it's good to get them into games and stuff.
And it's crucially a lot easier than Crash trilogy,
exactly,
which came out recently.
And was nails, right? It was like people stuck on certain
people
levels.
like there was a whole conversation about that, wasn't there? People forgetting how hard Crash actually was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all played it as kids and that's fine.
Yeah,
but like kids these days have got it easier because they're used to it because the game's easier.
It's not even just the difficulty; it's like quality of life and stuff as well. It's like just general.
That's what I mean.
Saves and things. And
exactly. When I say kids have got it easy, I mean stuff like that, like things that like you wouldn't take away, would you? Like autosave and all this shit. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
We've actually got an email on this very topic, so I might as well read it out now.
Okay.
So if you want to send us in an email, the address is dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. Send in an email to that and we'll have a chat about it on the podcast, like we're doing right this very second. This one is from Dave Eller in New Jersey. Dave says...
Nice. Jersey.
New Jersey. Dear Special Moves, Dave here. Been following you since the Pretty Good Gaming days and very happy to support what you're doing on YouTube.
Thank you.
Nice one,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Cheers, mate. Back when I was in my mid to late teens, computers were just starting to come into the average home. Yes, I am old, he says.
Confirmed.
Some of my earliest gaming experiences on the PC were text-based games like Zork and dungeon crawlers like Might and Magic and Bard's Tale, so I've seen the gaming industry grow pretty much from the beginning. These games were difficult and immersive, there was no hand-holding, and mapping was a pencil and graph paper. That's a great sentence, that's a fucking banger. Nice one, Dave. Today, gaming has obviously come a long way graphically, but I feel in many ways games have gotten, here we go, dumbed down. And I find I'm looking more and more towards the indie devs. I also don't like the multiplayer aspect on a lot of games because I find it to be rather toxic, though I did enjoy Ultimate Online back in the day. I understand that you guys are from a different generation, but I'm sure you may have played one or two older games. I'm just curious as to what your take is on how gaming has evolved. Has it gotten better or worse? I'm very much interested in a younger perspective because really the only people I get to discuss my hobby with these days are old farts like me. Cheers, Dave.
Oh, Dave.
Good email, Dave. Thanks, mate. Of course, yeah, it's changed loads, and I would hesitate to say what the oldest game I have ever played is, because
Without being like Pong and that.
Yeah.
because of course, yeah, exactly, and you know we've been to like trade shows and stuff where there's like retro consoles and does that really count? Where I've been playing ancient arse games on old machines and stuff, but you know, for me, the first video game I ever played was on a SNES. So that's like 93, 94, something like that. So I was really young, and it was near the end of the SNES sort of period, I guess. But that's pretty much where I started. So for me, they were amazingly sort of colourful 2D games that still look beautiful to this day, as far as I'm concerned, on the SNES. The SNES was had some amazing looking games on it. You know, Super Mario World, as you were saying.
You seen Chrono Trigger? That still holds up.
SNES was, ruled everything around me when I was little.
It's weird, isn't it? And like the aesthetic still exists. Like, look at Octopath Traveler. It's like
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, pixel art doesn't ever really go back to the NES days.
Yeah,
they all go for the SNES, and it's because you can pack so much with those colours.
Yeah. And then Liam, your perspective is a bit like you've sort of gone back like an archivist.
A little bit. So I was born around the PS1 era. That was like the first console I had growing up.
Yeah.
And the earliest memory I have of playing a game was Tetris on the original Game Boy.
Yeah.
And so I've gone pretty far back, and then I've played like games before I was born, like the SNES, Mega Drive, and all that.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a problem with going back to old games, but I do think games are probably better nowadays, just for like the quality of life alone.
Unquestionably.
Really.
I mean, if you'd have shown me God of War when I was 10, I would have shat my trousers. I would have fucking... I mean, it's just unbelievable.
You'd not believe it, would you?
The highs are so much... like, definitely compensate for the... for the things that are a bit shitter. He did... His email's a bit longer than that, but I had to like trim it down a little bit. But there was some stuff about, things that are still... he still really appreciated like the Mass Effect trilogy and stuff like that, and things, and they, the mechanics are still, you can look back at an older BioWare title, and maybe not like the more recent ones, but if you compare Mass Effect to some of the original BioWare stuff, there's loads and loads of parallels there, except Mass Effect has got an amazing production value, awesome voice acting, great writing, good universe.
It's got the same core,
Yeah.
So my first console actually ever was the Sega Master System 2, and I had Sonic on it, and then I got an NES, and I'm not, like, me and Mike are pretty much the same age, he's older than me. But I got the SNES later on, so I had the NES first, because it must have been cheaper, because the SNES must have launched, so we got the NES.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Right.
Yeah.
My exact age.
But you are quite soon 29, and I'm not until 2020, so you're a year older than me.
I'm not quite soon 29, you fucking libelous motherfucker.
For comparison, I am 24 this year.
Liam bringing up the age. Anyway, the point is, yeah. So I was born in 1991, but I played the NES, and I had Duck Hunt, Mario 2, Mario 3, finished all of them before I even played Super Mario World.
Yeah.
And the first like super difficult game I had was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES.
Yeah.
Hated it. And then Contra, but Contra's not called Contra in the UK. It's called like Super Alien Rebel Force
Probo Protector.
Probo Bot or something. Yeah.
They replaced the people with robots.
It was fucking solid, and I hated it. But Dave, I think, to be honest, you and I are kindred spirits. Because not only am I spiritually an older man from New Jersey, but I also have a lot of love for the sort of games that you're on about.
That needs an explanation.
What? Yeah, no, it doesn't at all, because it's just total bollocks. I was just joking. But Dave, you're saying that like games now have got dumbed down, but let me just pitch this to you, okay? The games that you sound like you enjoy are very much based on tabletop games, the critical thinking.
You did mention Divinity.
RPG. Did he?
Yeah.
I was going to say, Pillars of Eternity, I'd highly recommend if you've not checked that out. And then just keep an eye on what indie games are doing. Like I always think a lot of like roguelike and deck building games are good because they're mechanical and like they're brutal because death is so important in the game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's mentioned this either, but of course the reason everybody comes together over this game is because it does remind them, even older players, of older games, and it's like Dark Souls. Because there's no map for Dark Souls, you memorize it, and that's kind of it. There's no graph paper, sure, but like you can't press a button and open up your map for Dark Souls. You have to memorize placement of enemies, placement of items, geographical placement, shortcuts and things like that. There's a lot of critical thinking that you do there that does harken back to the days when you were mechanically limited, but this is kind of designed to be put at the forefront.
Yeah.
So you hold your knowledge, and like I think, Mike, you've said this before, and I don't know if you were quoting somebody else, but it was like that Dark Souls isn't really hard, you just get better at it, and your experience...
That's what the perceived thing is, isn't it?
Yeah. So like with Dark Souls, like you do level up and stuff like that. But if you've done Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Sekiro and you go back, the thing that took you 2 hours to do will take you 20 minutes to do.
Yeah.
Like Bloodborne, to get to Father Gascoigne takes about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? It took me 2 hours, 3 hours maybe when I was in the first time. You're looking around, you know what I mean? And same with Sekiro. Like in the first half an hour, I can get to the third boss, the Tomy Lightning guy.
Yeah.
And that sounds like impossible, but it's not when you know it. And because of that, it's kind of like those games where, like, if you know the path, you can just skip.
It's also this idea of just like, you know, going outside the game to have to think and stuff. So like so what you're saying there, you used to need a paper and pencil to like map out the games. You know, that's a huge theme in Dark Souls.
I remember that one dungeon in Final Fantasy VIII. Do you remember where you got the Minotaur?
Yeah.
There was no map for that, and I remember drawing a diagram for that on a notepad.
Yeah, that's...
I think the Lost Woods in Ocarina of Time or something, that was the one that I was like trying to, you know, when you're trying to, you have to go left and right and left
right.
and
Yeah.
And
Phantasy Star on the Mega Drive, if you've ever played that, that was the same. You had to like map out your own map of the world.
And but there's really so many games that sort of try and give you that now. Dark Souls and From Software do it.
There's even more direct ones, like Legend of Grimrock on PC.
Right.
That's like a very old school style dungeon crawler.
Yeah, it's got a little following that
There's a lot of like throwback type stuff in the indie scene.
Yeah,
and that's what you're saying. He turns to indie games because I guess the triple, like if you by contrast. You know, I know I'm always having a go at Assassin's Creed, but like Ubisoft just give you everything. They give you and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different approach. It's like they give you absolutely everything you need to complete the game in the game. The UI is like, well, the UIs are getting really much better in recent years, but there's full of information. Like the pause menus have got like 10 different tabs of like the map, objectives, information. Like you've got everything you need is in the game. Yeah. Whereas there's some games where it's just like. You died, and then you're like, well, what am I meant to do?
Yeah.
Don't know. Good luck.
I guess it comes from, like, when the game started, it was really two things. Like, video games were trying to mimic sports type games with reflexes and things like that.
Yeah.
Where maybe they weren't as tight. But then there was also, like, games by the geeks, games by, like, tabletop people who thought, how good did it be? Because stuff like that's text and logic based rather than mechanic based.
Yeah.
So it could work on a very good level with very, very simple mechanics. But then as games have now got like really mainstream and like people have seen how lucrative a market it can be because it's bigger than every other form of media. There's now all these other things. So it's not just trying to emulate tabletop or emulate sports. Now we're trying to like make people be an assassin, not like a sleeper agent, just like in a game. And then why just limit it to the geek in the house if you can limit it to everyone in the house and get 4 times as much money? So a lot of it comes down to that really. But I think back in the day when it was like really starting out, the only people that were making games were people that really believed in it. They didn't think they could make a quick buck. They had to really give a shit. And that's why I guess Dave's like, even if you've not even thought about why, but that's probably why you're orbiting towards indie devs because they are really believing in their product.
Well, and you compare. Like I always think of the Julian Gollop, the guy who sort of created the XCOM, original XCOM tactical, sort of alien fighting game thing. That was a very like difficult, technical, sort of hardcore experience in a lot of ways. And then the remake, the Firaxis XCOMs come out, which I fucking love. Like they're some of a couple of my favorite games actually, the Firaxis XCOMs. But they're totally different. Like the way that they manage your turn is completely different. It's a really simple thing. You can move and you can shoot, or you can move and you can reload, or move and do something. But in the original ones, you had like action points, and you had to keep track of how many action points you had, and you could move a certain distance, and it would affect how many action points you had. And you needed 2 or 3 action points to shoot at the end, so you needed to. Yeah. So you had to do like just that one change alone makes it like more accessible in the Firaxis ones. But then Julian Gollop comes back, and he's making Phoenix Point, which is a complete like. Response to the Firaxis ones. Not saying, oh, this is how it should be. he's just seen the Firaxis ones. He's taking elements of the Firaxis games in there, but then he's doing the more hardcore thing where you can like really precisely pick which fucking body part you're going to shoot and stuff like that.
Right.
And so because he loves that like technical depth of it, which maybe not every play like that doesn't sound appealing. I don't care about that. I just want to try and shoot the alien.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And I'm on a sort of different plane to some people who really want that like granular hardcore experience. So, but just I don't think there's anything wrong with the indie having to turn to indies.
No,
to get your thing,
really,
because you've got the best of both worlds there.
It's like shopping local when you get in these things.
Exactly.
The money's going into their pockets. It's not filtering through like the fucking Walmarts of the world, innit? Like that's essentially what's going on. Like you're just giving the money directly to the people that are making the games, so it's almost cleaner, nicer. Hey, you know something? And
you've still got God of War if you want it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Hey, do you know what could be worth looking at as well, Dave? Yeah, something I've not ever looked at properly, but it's a pure machine for anecdotes, and it's so much depth. It's stupid. The Dwarf Fortress. Have a look at that. Like they've just done a big expansion. Like when I say just, I mean like in the past year or so. But comparatively, it's that is like text based to the extreme, isn't it? Like insane what you can do in that.
If you compare something like Destiny as well to what you would have had like with the first MMOs. Like they were just Destiny is a game
like
where
Ultima.
It's exactly.
Ultima Online's fucking sick as well, you know.
I can't remember if I feel like I watched someone play that. I didn't play it myself.
I used to like my older cousin was like my idol when because he was like into all the high fantasy, all the heavy metal and all this and all that. Hey, you know what? Yeah, just a very very quick segue. He has his own YouTube channel which is like all like ghost stuff, right? Cool. Ghost stories and paranormal, like true crime stuff. And I was on one of his videos recently, and there was people from Special Moves that recognised them. Were like, "Oh my god, you guys know each other!" But so shouts out to the people that know Shrouded Hand and Special Moves. That's really cool. But yeah, so he was big into Ultima Online, and I was like blown. That's the first time I.
Is he from Holywell, by the way?
Huh?
Is he from Holywell?
Originally from Holywell, now he lives in Newcastle.
Yes, Holywell's like the fucking factory for like YouTubers and Twitch streamers. That's so funny.
Finest export.
It's a little North Wales fact for you. Holywell's a hive of. Holywell's like the fucking LA in it.
I would
it's
say
on the
just
coast.
as accommodating, brilliant. But best place in the world. But seriously, you've got to say, that like seeing Ultima Online and it was like as a kid seeing it and going, they're all other people.
Yeah,
it's like that. You know, like I said to my daughter on Apex Legends, every single person I kill is another human being in their front room thinking that they're going to win. Ellie understands.
While you're covering the table in cling film, ready for the next victim.
So don't tell anyone. Okay? But no, it's just, and that adds like, you know, like when I told her that, she was like a bit like, because I was saying, think about this. Everyone playing this thinks that they are going to win.
Yeah.
Everyone is another person.
They're standing up in their living room just like you are.
With their baby clinging onto their leg.
Playing Apex, but they're another person who's sitting there just trying to do exactly what you're trying to do. So it's
Can you imagine being like older, like Dave, and just playing games for years and years and years and years, and then seeing that and thinking everyone I'm interacting with is another person? It'd be nuts. We take that for granted, I think, a bit. Like I can remember the world without the internet, but
what I was going to say was that the level of like interaction with Ultima was, you know, you sort of the way you attack and interact with the world and everything is a lot slower, but then again it's more detailed and granular because that's just the way games were set up, and they had a lot of ideas laid into them, whereas Destiny just shoot that in the head. Shoot that in the head. Shoot that in the head.
Yeah, you can shoot them anywhere else that's not the head, but
just
it's the head or something else.
Preferably the head, or in some occasions the gut.
Yeah,
but it's like,
it's
but that's
true,
it's just like an evolution of the idea. Like that wouldn't never have happened without the Ultima thing. But then you still have, if you really want that kind of, you've got EVE Online. You've got like loads of these MMOs that try and there's just more stuff.
Like old school RuneScape is doing better than regular RuneScape right now.
Yeah,
and that was just RuneScape, which was a rip off of Ultima Online, pretty much.
World of Warcraft going back
classic,
to the fucking you know.
Tibia still existing.
I think you just have to. I think that all the stuff that you used to love is still there, Dave. But you just have to like.
And think about this: the chances that there's someone like you who is a developer that wants to bring that.
Yeah, there's loads of them. Right?
Of course there is. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for that email, Dave. So Jake, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a hardcore game like this. I'm playing Total War. Nah, I've been playing Total War Warhammer 1, the original one. Yeah.
The best one.
Well, yeah.
That's actually my favourite in the series.
Total War, the whole series.
Total War Warhammer is the best Total War game. It's my favourite one.
Yep. Okay. Well, I agree completely, but I just wanted to make sure that you didn't mean out of Warhammer 2, which is weird to call it a series.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah, like a little sub-series.
The thing about this, okay, is that Total War is a game about war from all fronts, like the diplomacy, the planning, the territorial issues, the taxation, the assembly, and the battles. It's a war simulator. It's very much what you'd imagine by the name, right? And if you've not played it before, it's like extremely in-depth set of games that is about 60% of the game is like the campaign map planning, and then there's these huge battles, and the series is quite well known for taking historical periods of time like the Roman Empire and things like this, and medieval. Total War was another big one, and then kind of exploring the ideas there, and the crux of it all was it's kind of as realistic as it could have gotten. There was like TV shows over here where they would be pitting people up against each other in Total War.
It was called Time Commanders, if you want to find it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's actually like they quite like tried to bring it back recently and stuff.
Greg Wallace from
exactly.
MasterChef.
So here's the thing, like I don't know, man. I don't. When I play the regular Total War, something about it irks me a little bit. And what it is, I've been in rooms with people that played this game, and the first thing that they do is they go, right, tax the people, and then it's like, I already feel like a bit like a tyrant playing it, and because it's so realistic, and I've got to oppress my own people, and then I'm just defending my like home base and like a home country from people that are just trying to migrate over. I'm just like a bit like, oh man, just a bit. They're not mean. It makes me feel like a tyrant in it, and I don't like that. So hide it behind fantasy, and I can be as much of a prick as I want, and it's fine.
I mean,
I'm essentially playing a national socialist on fucking this. When you play as a dwarf, you hold grudges against anyone that's ever wronged you.
Yeah.
Some fucking other dwarves.
There's a book. They've got a book.
They've literally got a book of grudges. So, but this fantasy elements really helped me enjoy it. So, like, what I'm trying to say is, like,
oh, I can finally be
let
a Nazi.
me tell you what I'm saying. No,
what are you saying?
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't know, because the fantasy element like makes me just take it less seriously. Whereas, like, I don't know, like if my guys were like, right, the French have just crossed our border, they were in need of aid, and I'm like, but all your people are raging, you need to kill them, or else your public order's going to be down. I'd be like, I don't want to though.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. You know, like how you guys don't want to play a hunting sim. Mm-hmm. I don't want to kill people that were like basically like.
But orcs, fuck them.
This is exactly it, yeah, because essentially there's a lot of that in high fantasy, innit?
Yeah.
You hate this race just because they're this race, innit?
Yeah.
But they've added all this extra stuff, so now I can feel like I can believe, like I can role play as this dwarven king whose book is like, right, my people are going to get pissed off because these orcs have got me before, you know, and they've all got funny names and that, and I'm like...
The dwarves are great.
Helps me enjoy it a bit more. So it was like, you know, like how Generation Zero was hiding a hunting simulator behind mechanical robots because... It helps you, you know what I mean? And I know loads of people listening to this thinking, what are you on about? But come on, hopefully someone can understand what I'm saying. Anyway,
so what you've been you just gone back to the original game, no expansions.
Like, long story short, I'm lining up to play Total War Warhammer 2, but I wanted to play the first one because I bought and downloaded the first one solely so I could enable inside the second one this thing called the Mortal Empires campaign, which basically ported the entire campaign of the first game into the second one with all of its mechanics and its UI and stuff like that. It made some minor trims to fit the game in, but you could play it with all the characters from Total War Warhammer 2, and by characters I mean like races, like lizard people, rat people. Shout out to Total War fans who are like, actually, it's Skaven.
Yeah. Oh, they've already typed the comment, mate.
Yeah,
you're too late.
And then in Warhammer 1, you know, there's these races like vampires and the Empire and stuff, but I never played it. I never played the first one, so I just thought
the first one is amazing. The theme and let's
fire it up.
I think because that was the first one that did it as well. You know, it just the experience of playing that for the first time was just unreal. Like just you know, phoenixes and wizards and spells and stuff, and having that fantasy. You know, I've always wanted a Lord of the Rings Total War game. That's like my that's for years been like the one. If I could have any sort of dream game, that's what I want, right? And this is the closest it's ever got. That's the closest it's ever got to that.
Of course, yeah, man. Like, if you could, like, if you were in charge of what happened at Helm's Deep and, like, how you could fend off the Uruk-hai, like, what strategies would you use and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure loads of people have thought about that before, whatever. Yeah. And, like,
I care more about that. I don't give a fuck about Europe and Britain and all this shit. I just want, like...
Exactly, you know? And that's the crux of it, you know?
Yeah.
I, like, all these, like, Rome Total War and that, it's like, it's pretty interesting, but really, nah, you know, give me a wizard. And so this has, and I'm playing as a dwarf, and we were just talking then recently about the graph paper map, right? This has me like trying to draw out formations or going on Wikipedia and looking at what formations real armies have used, and I can apply it to myself and my game, thinking about the dwarves and like, right? So what's so brilliant?
Complete wank.
What?
You've been looking up formation.
Yeah, because I'm not very good at the game, innit? And no, it's serious,
that's
man.
Nice. That's
no, it's
nice.
serious. Like, listen, yeah, I'm playing it, and my...
What's your favourite formation?
No, I make my own, innit? But I get
you've been looking like Brazilian police formations.
How is that a wank, innit? Listen, every Total War player is a wank by that aspect.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
You're rushing
You've signed up for it,
no
yeah,
one's
you're
rushing
right.
in, yeah? But the truth of the matter is, right, I'm not really that into war and all that in real life. I don't give a shit. I've only just started watching World War II in colour, right? I didn't even know anything about
like a
war.
historical...
In real life, yeah, I don't give a shit about any of that. And the same with formations, innit? Just kill everyone. So, when it comes to this, yeah, you have to start thinking, you're like... It's so good, because if you've never played Total War Warhammer, it doesn't matter. Because what I'm about to say to you now makes so much sense. I'll tell you. You're a dwarf, so immediately you know, small shit legs, can't climb up hills. Also small shit legs, aren't very fast, can't run very far, get tired easy.
But
all the stereotypes are so right. But what do you think of when you think of a dwarf? Small, stout, big armour. Exactly. So there's that. So you can just apply like this logic of a dwarf, which isn't even a real race. Just like using this weird fantasy logic, but how does it do that? How amazing is that?
I'm really glad you're saying this, because that's the sort of masterstroke of the. That's why I fucking love it so much. Because not only is it a great fantasy game, you're like, you know, with the vampires, right? So that they sort of raise the dead, but you just know in your head, if you kill the vampire count, then all the zombies die.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
And that vampire, think bit of magic, but frail.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's so weird because...
The fantasy logic applies spot on in it.
And all these archetypes come out and... but yeah, so when I was thinking of that, then I thought about dwarves and they can't run, so they've got to be defensive. So I was thinking like, all right, so what am I doing formation-wise? I'll find a hill and then... I've got loads of archers and stuff, but because they're small, they probably won't be able to shoot that far. So I need to get a good front line.
Yeah.
But dwarves don't have horses, so then I need to think, right, what's the best way of fending off? Like, what's the best way of making a flank? What shape do I have? So that's why I was having a look at. Look, you know what I mean?
Cool.
It's like it's really cool. And do you know what it is? It's a really nice bit of escapism, like big time. Because like for that bit, I'm just thinking like, right, I would never have thought that. Ever. Why would I be thinking about battle formations and shit? It's just good.
You should play the Empire campaign, because they're like getting attacked from all sides pretty much. But a lot of it is against you tend to go near the vampires sort of, and then it's that gothic like battle thing is so cool. Like when you've got like these Imperial soldiers who are like shit in their pants, and then they've got like just massive
like Castlevania kind of.
It's exact half the map is Castlevania.
I felt like dwarves are so me though, because we're like vindictive as fuck and very stubborn.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, I'm gonna get your land and I'm gonna stay in these mountains, innit? And it's just like, I feel like it suits me because I'm thinking already like a stubborn little prick.
The Chaos ones are good as well, if you want to.
Yeah, right.
Because they're pretty vindictive, but they're also like the wildlings. They're like the Viking raiders sort of thing.
Barbarians, like anti-civilization,
and there's hordes.
Because
but
fuck diplomacy, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Go in there and just trash.
You can be unreasonable because you're like a barbarian raider, so you can't.
Do you know what?
Negotiate.
And that's the thing about Total War. It might not be for you, but. Like, I don't know how to tell my wife about the story about what happened, like how I was defending against these orc things, and it's like she was like laughing at me, like, that's very cute that you're talking about it like it was real life, and I'm like, come on, man.
You weren't there.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why for 2 hours, I was a dwarven lord. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's good that video games can do that. And a lot of the time, I don't think that. When I'm playing Titanfall, I'm not like I'm a pilot. And when I'm playing like, what do you know what I mean? I don't role play it. Yeah. But you can't in Total War. You have to, because you can't just be like not taking it seriously. You have to commit. You have to have a hot drink. And you have to commit. You're dead. Your race is wiped out.
It's a good Sunday afternoon game. That it's a good you need to, because you do need to spend a lot of time with it, and especially if you if you're gonna like start a new campaign and stuff, it takes that's the fun, like setting it all up and getting it going and deciding which way you're gonna like expand or whatever.
Yeah,
it's all good now. It's all good. So that's cool. So both of you gone back to
slightly older games.
So have I, really. I mean, I've not played anything new compared to last week, pretty much. I've still been playing Prey, which is fucking amazing on PC, specifically. And
let's not go into that again.
We've all been playing Apex, but, this isn't the Apex Legends podcast, so that's enough of that. Yep. But it's fucking good. And that's about it, really. Planet Coaster's still going down a treat in this house. What a game.
Real life situations have been likened to Planet Coaster, which I love. I love it when somebody who's like a bit of a... Laura does play the odd game, actually. Laura played more Spider-Man. But the fact that she's not living and breathing video games and she's seen something in real life and gone, oh, it's like a game.
I'm like, whenever you go to a theme park, like I always think about Roller Coaster
Tycoon.
I know, I always think I'm gonna fucking play that when I go home, but then Laura had that thing, having played Planet Coaster.
Exactly. Yeah.
You go to a theme park, you're like, that's a very inefficient place to put that roller coaster.
Oh no, I'm not that kind of tosser.
Hot dog stand needs to be at least 5 feet to the left.
Yeah, although we did have some complaints on the weekend, but anyway, that's besides the point. So should we do? I feel like we should maybe do the news before we do another email, actually, because there's a couple of news items that it's like 40 minutes in and we still haven't fucking talked about it.
But the news has been pretty light.
Nintendo Switch Lite.
That was
good.
like, I noticed I was doing
Good segue.
Yeah, so there's a new Nintendo Switch console on the way, which is sort of smaller, more portable. Specifically aimed, I think the sentence I read was so that kids can put it in their backpacks, sort of thing, a bit easier. Because the Nintendo Switch is, although it is a portable machine, it is slightly...
It treads a fine line between being a bit too big and to be a true portable.
So they've shrunk the size. The Joy-Cons are they're just stuck on. They're part of the machine.
Not even Joy-Cons anymore.
They're not technically Joy-Cons because they just, they have no...
It's just a Wii U remote at this point, People don't want to talk about it today, but it is.
Yeah. What do you think of what you've seen of it?
Good.
It looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper.
Colours are good. Like aesthetically, it looks ace.
Yeah.
I love the new colours. That yellow is fucking ace.
I said to, I think it was Jake. I said it to. It's what I imagine a modern Game Boy would look like.
Yeah, it really is.
In many ways, that's what it is.
I mean, it might pretty much. Yeah.
So it's it's sort of an inevitable move. Nintendo always do this, aren't they?
Well, it was kind of rumored for like.
It's been ages.
And the XL version.
Yeah, which is more like a pro
sort
of thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, Doug Bowser said don't expect one anytime soon.
Right. Okay. So there we go.
All right, Doug.
These rumors were like hand in hand. It was making this and this.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But so we've seen this. And it was quite funny because it started off with them talking about all the things that aren't in it. Rather than
there's no rumble.
Rather than saying like, by the way, good. Because imagine if there was rumble. Imagine if like a DS had a rumble. Your screen's like
fuck the screen up anyway.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you could get the for the Game Boy Advance, so you could get the cartridges
Rumble
that have the Rumble Pack in.
Yeah, Rumble Pack. Yeah, that's what
they had packs for everything, didn't they?
Pokemon Pinball came with it.
I think it was PAK as well. There was they didn't try and use funny marketing terms to avoid the fact that they just omitted a load of features. They're like, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have this.
Now with smooth grip instead of Rumble.
Exactly. Yeah, we've
not a single vibration.
We've consolidated the Joy-Cons and screen to one bigger unit, but it's
more convenient package.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, nah, it doesn't have all this. So as far as I know, the only real issue in terms of compatibility with games is it can't play any games that require docked mode.
Yeah. Wait. You can't dock it to a TV.
Yeah.
No matter what, you can't.
There's not even like an HDMI port you can plug in.
It's not even like a little adapter you can plug into the bottom.
Yeah. So it is truly a handheld console.
Truly handheld.
Which a lot of people like to just do that anyway. I don't. I'm not.
I never use it apart from when the kids want to play Mario Party.
I don't know why. It's just.
I'm always using it when I'm traveling.
I'm about 50-50.
Yeah, you say this actually. And I saw something about. Is it something like 70% of people don't play it docked or something like that?
There's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a really high amount. So I guess that's like the.
It's just sort of a handheld machine to me, and I I think I've tried it docked after you guys were saying, "Oh no, you should like fucking give it a spin," sort of thing. Because I had it for like months and months without even trying it.
Yeah, you'd never even docked it. Yeah,
so like the mini one would sort of make sense to me, but you know, I've already got.
That's
the Switch.
exactly it. For me, it makes more sense for me to have that than this one. But I've already got a Switch and I wouldn't trade it in.
Yeah.
And annoyingly, the price point is a fantastic $199.
Yeah.
So like $200.
Yeah.
Which is about 160 quid in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's 200 quid in the UK as well. So what?
Yeah.
How come the Americans
That
get
does
a
happen,
haircut?
doesn't
Like,
it?
so it's for 160 quid, that would have been the perfect price point.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is.
Yeah,
I'd recommend that
very
to everybody.
competitive. Yeah, and you know the battery life is the same. One question I've got that I haven't looked into is the performance. I don't know if it's
It's the same.
does it just
It's
match
the same
the
performance? Yeah.
Yeah.
so the performance and the battery
So
life is the
No,
same.
I think the battery life's longer.
The battery life is about a half hour better, I think they said, because
I read exactly the same.
they're
but-
using the CPU in the Switch. They've managed to shrink it down,
Right.
so better power efficiency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slightly better, but no like performance boost or anything.
Yeah, so just a longer battery, but half an hour.
By 30 minutes.
You say 30 minutes though, but they reckon Breath of the Wild could do 3 hours, so 3.5 hours now is
Right.
Yeah,
what is
it
an
was like
increase.
3.5 to 4. They
That's
estimated.
shit battery life.
So
isn't
like
it?
16%
I
better.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't because that's the the one way I will dock the Switch all the time is to charge it. So I just like plonk it in the dock like all the time.
Right.
And that keeps it like nice and charged up in it. Because I don't think I would play it for 3 hours in a stretch unless I'm like traveling somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's when it comes to life, innit? That's when you take it with you. You just chuck it in a
Magical.
Like, need a carry case. You got a fucking amazing games console with you wherever you go.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's where it comes into its own.
And
for me.
you know, it's quite rare these days that you'll go somewhere with for more than 3 hours without there being a charging point at some part in the journey.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a long haul flight. So, like I was doing a lot of traveling like a couple of weeks ago, but there's like docks and not fucking docks and like plugs and that, innit? Imagine that. Imagine we got to that world. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got your fucking fold down train, a little dock underneath it, innit?
Hey, give me that world, innit?
Yeah.
Give me that world. The Mushroom Kingdom can't come soon enough, man. But yeah, I've got to say, I think it was a cool proposition, and if it's 200 quid with a game, yeah, but I don't know, man. I think
It'll do well this Christmas.
Hell yeah.
There's going to be a lot of like parents getting it for younger kids.
They'll market it nicely.
It looks a bit more robust as well, so it'll be better for kids.
That's what I thought was really nice. Like the way they had a specific like, we want this. We want kids to be able to just chuck this in their bags to go to school or whatever or wherever they're going. Like, having that having that little. Why can't kids do that currently so good with the Switch that we've got? Yeah. Well, it comes apart in 3 fucking pieces to begin with. The screen's massive. It weighs a bit too much. It's all this. Mm-hmm. So I like the way that they've gone about it and try to like answer a specific, design question sort of thing with it. But so that's a new Nintendo Switch version coming out. Before Christmas. So that's pretty cool. Another little news item that caught our eye was Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings TV
MMO.
show is on the way from Amazon.
Yeah.
So Amazon Studios are working on an MMO, but apparently it's nothing to do with the TV show.
Oh, right.
But maybe they're just making
They've
most of
just
some
got the
rights.
license.
They've got some sort of licensing rights.
Probably, isn't it? But it's.
Who was the people that are
they,
making it again?
They paid something stupid, didn't they? A few billion for the
was,
rights.
Yeah, it was
So
silly.
you want to get every penny you can out of that.
How many billion was it? The budget for the first season of The Lord of the Rings is something like 1.4 billion or something.
Right.
Exactly. So make an MMO, get some recurring subscribers, get every penny back.
Well, this is the thing. It's a free-to-play MMO, so we don't know how monetized it's going to be, which is the only thing.
Yeah.
But
And
didn't Lotro go free-to-play for a bit?
I think it is.
It is, yeah.
Is it still existing? Does it still exist?
The base game is
it's on
free to
Steam.
play, and then I think you have to buy expansions.
I
maybe.
used to play that a little bit.
I played it a little bit when it went free to play.
It's the only MMO I really got into. I tried the Old Republic purely out of desperation because I like Knights of the Old Republic so much. And everyone was going on about how the story is like, the story's so good for an MMO.
What the fuck?
And then Final Fantasy came out and took all the crowns for best story.
Yeah,
look who's still playing Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, I'm not on Shadowbringers yet.
Kale's smashing it as well, Let me read this out, yeah. So
Well,
I was like, who is it that's making it for Amazon Studios? It's Leo Technologies. So let me just read it. I need to read a little bit of Wikipedia page.
Go on.
Okay.
Leo, or Liu, is a global video game holding company focused on free-to-play console and PC gaming. Liu, which had originally operated as a chicken supplier, now has 3 holdings: Digital Extremes, Splash Damage, and Athlon Games.
Okay.
So you know Splash Damage, right?
Yeah.
So
Digital Extremes, Warframe.
exactly. So
Sounds like
they're
free to play
making- that's where we're
multiplayer is
going.
the specialty.
Right.
So yeah. So that's who's. It's in partnership, Amazon Game Studios and these guys, the chicken people.
Sounds then
Lost
just
Boys
Someone else. Yeah.
based on that, and having not read much about it at all, that it will be like more of an action sort of thing than a queuing up attacks.
Yeah,
sort
so
of thing.
like, I think
Won't be
more
as many hot
Warframe.
bars.
Yeah, more Warframe than WoW.
And you're
Yeah.
gonna have to set it apart from Lord of the Rings Online, because you can't just make Lord of the Rings Online again.
Well,
can you?
That is
Well,
basically WoW,
Yeah.
really.
Well,
but
that's why I was thinking. Like, that's why I didn't think it existed anymore. Because I was like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be interesting. I wonder if they're gonna imagine if they did it like the sort of isometric hack and slash, like old PS2 ones.
That'd be cool.
But MMO,
Yeah,
yeah, that'd be fucking sick. Actually,
Yeah.
I think.
How would you make that work?
there are
as an
some
MMO,
there's some MMOs like that.
Tibia. Tibia? That was like that?
Remember,
Not hack and slash.
Marvel Heroes before it got shut down? That was like
No.
isometric.
Oh,
hack and
yeah, I never played
Tales
it.
of Pirates?
Yeah.
That was a
slashy.
favorite.
Spiral Knights. I played that a
Yeah,
lot.
and that
So
was
they were isometric hack and slash games, but
Yeah.
they just happen to be MMOs.
They
Yeah,
had
yeah.
MMO components.
Yeah,
too.
So
exactly.
that would be pretty
Could
fucking
work.
cool. Yeah.
If they did that, like, who knows what they're doing with it? But it's interesting, and it's a Lord of the Rings game that's
Yeah.
called like Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's not Lord of the Rings Total War, though, is it? So just
Nah, it's
fucking
not.
move
But
on.
it's pretty big news, especially because
Yeah.
that's like the daddy of high fantasy, in it really. Lord of the
Yeah.
When
Rings.
was the last? What was it? Shadow War, the last Lord of the Rings game.
Yeah.
And even then, that's a bit of a mixed bag
But
for
before
fans.
that, Shadow of Mordor. What did we get? Like, what was it before that? 'Cause that was 2009. I think
Is it War in the North?
Yeah.
That weird
There's
free-player co-op one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Role
really.
playing game. I finished that.
So that was a long time ago, right?
Yeah, it was just one of these games where it's just like 3 characters that you don't give a toss about, who don't, they're just, it's just a Lord of the Rings adventure.
I think the last one I
with
played,
eagles.
yeah, apart from Shadow of Mordor, and that was the Third Age.
On PS2.
Yeah, that
Final Fantasy X rip-off.
It was a Final Fantasy X with like, and
Battle
even
for Middle Earth, mate.
but was that after it? Battle for Middle Earth 2?
2006.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what, the last one I
360,
played was
yeah.
Conquest. The Battlefront style
Yeah.
one.
Oh yeah.
That's
That
the
was
last one I
like,
played.
you'd started in the
Yes.
Shire or something, and there was just like a little street in the Shire,
Yeah.
and there was orcs on one side, and then
Yeah.
Pretty much.
elves and all the other ones on the
Mines
other
of
side.
Moria and stuff
Yeah,
like that. I
yeah.
guess.
I remember playing that.
And you could play as one with 2 swords, or 1 sword, or
Bow and
a bow.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like,
I remember
you know.
going around to my friend's house and we'd like stay over and play it till like 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings
cool.
It was one of those games.
Yeah.
So a new Lord of the Rings game. That's very exciting. Lord of the Rings is going to be taken off soon. Kind of weird because
Yeah.
we obviously all remember the Lord of the Rings films being the big boom, but I guess there'll be another big boom of it soon with this new TV
Well,
show.
I hope it's good, and that's all I say. I just can't. I just find it very difficult to get excited about, because I love the movies so much.
Yeah,
and the,
critically
and the
acclaimed
books
masterpieces,
and
yeah.
Yeah, them. Yeah. The fucking genre creating
Defining, yes,
books. and the-
Exactly. So it's like, it's interesting, I think. And if they do go down that route, like, look, if it's half as popular as Warframe, it's
Yeah,
going to do well
it'll
for
be-
itself, isn't
I
it?
can imagine it would play well as a Warframe style game. Imagine playing
Yeah.
as a high elf,
That would
like
make
flipping
sense.
every air with the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
If they had some
exactly
like
that.
Dragon Age camp sort of thing, where you had a camp instead of a fucking Warframe ship, and then you went from that camp to different
Yeah, like
little-
instances.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some structure like that, and that
That
it
could
doesn't
work.
it doesn't have to be a fucking big. Every game doesn't have to be a big open world sort of thing, where condensed version of Middle Earth, where you're walking from Elrond's house to like Mordor in
Theoden's
5
house.
minutes and that.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be weird. It's coming to consoles and PC, which is interesting because
Yeah,
a lot of MMOs start on PC exclusively,
yeah,
don't they?
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, then again, not so much anymore, but they certainly did, didn't they?
They did
Conan
used to, yeah.
and
But
Watcher.
again, that gives you more of like an actiony feel as well, doesn't it? Like it doesn't.
if it's being designed with a controller in mind,
Yeah.
First.
Well,
Yes.
Final Fantasy 14 works surprisingly well on a controller.
it does. Yeah, no, it does. I
Why,
had it
why
on
is that? Is
PS4.
that like a hot?
It's like WoW style,
Yeah.
active skills and hotbars
Yeah.
everywhere, queuing up attacks.
Yeah.
So are they cute? So are they like mapped out on buttons, or are you
Yeah,
scrolling?
so it's like you have 2 little hotbars. I think one's mapped to triangle, circle.
Yeah, yeah.
The other's the D-pad,
Okay.
and then you can hold R2 and L2,
And
and
it'll
it'll bring
make
up an
a second
expanded
variant.
one,
yeah,
and it
Yeah.
works surprisingly well for an
Cool.
MMO.
yeah. All right, decent. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I just fucking love Lord of the Rings in it, so I just don't want it
Yeah.
to be shit.
Hopefully it won't. Yeah, because traditionally they are
Yeah.
quite shit.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter.
Hobbit didn't set the world on fire, did it?
Oh, fucking hell. Let's just... All right, let's do one more email then before we do the new games. This is an email from October Comstock from LA, friend of the channel. October says, Dear
Still
Special
alive
Moves...
after that earthquake, man. I mentioned that.
You're joking about that now, yeah?
Huh?
Cool. Are we joking about that?
What? No, she is still alive. This
Is it
is
too soon for the earthquake jokes? Is that what
No,
you're
no,
saying?
it wasn't. It wasn't a joke. Remember, I genuinely had said I was like,
I know
shit.
that the
Some
earthquake
people...
wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
Are we cracking jokes
Yeah.
about the fact that there was an earthquake?
No, I saw I saw October Comstock's tweet saying that there was an earthquake, and then there was nothing, and I thought, oh my god. So it was genuine concern, not a joke. So I'm glad to know that you're alive, October.
Shit.
Genuinely.
Right, nice one, October. Thanks for the thanks for the heads up. She says, Dear Special Moves, this is more of an observation that I wanted to share with you guys, along with an anecdote from my day-to-day job. I am a software engineer. So today at work, my British friend, Jack, who is a developer from Essex, rolls over to have a chat. We're talking about the games we've been playing. I told him about my recent Destiny 2 escapades.
Roll the chair, isn't
On the chair,
The
yeah.
chair,
I thought you were laughing because the story was going to say, and then there was an earthquake.
Yeah, it's like Remember Me.
Yeah.
It ends abruptly with an earthquake.
It's a fucking text log from anyway, Destiny 2 escapades, and he tells me he's been playing lots of League of Legends. Now, apparently, he had asked his friends to send him some new playlists to jam out to while playing. He received a few. Some EDM, some country.
Yeah.
And since listening to the country music, he's been on a 7+ win streak. The only time he's lost a match is, you guessed it, when he isn't listening to the country music. Now, Mike also recently told a story about how he was able to get through parts of Sekiro by listening to Rage Against the Machine.
Right, yeah.
So my observation is that this seems to be a thing.
This is like when you
Sincerely,
put like
October Comstock.
like you know, like
from LA.
brain scanning things on rats in labs. It's like does the rat perform
Fascinating.
better with country
Yeah.
music?
It's like a low stakes science research. It's a PhD.
Yeah.
It's a PhD study, isn't it? It does. I sort of like the subconscious power of belief that listening to country music would give you. But,
Yeah.
you know. But for me, when it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was like distracting. I guess it was like.
That's it.
I remember when I was telling the story about like when I was playing Sekiro, that it was like belittling the situation. It's not a great word to explain what I mean, but it's sort of rather than me feeling like, oh fuck, now I've got to fight, you know, and it felt like really like a hard, difficult, severe thing that I had to get through. I was just sort of, it took me out of it a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
In a good way. You know, sometimes you really don't want to be taken out of games, but sometimes you do, and maybe multiplayer.
Pseudoscience here. I'm going to give you some things that.
Well, fitting with
sounds-
95% of you to fit in the fucking Joe Rogan podcast, wouldn't it?
Exactly, it's
that's,
fascinating. So let me tell you a couple of things that sound like they make sense. Okay, so I used to make electronic music, and I went to college and did a little bit. And there's very specific reasons. There's rises, and there's very specific reasons that house music is 128 beats per minute because it almost acts as like a double time of like the standard heartbeat, and it raises your heartbeat and stuff like that. And also because everything's if it's what you call a 4 to the floor beat, which means every beat of every bar there's a kick drum, so doof 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 doof. So not like drum and bass, but like house music or trance music or whatever like that. It sets you to sync to that, right? So what I'm saying is, if you're listening to EDM, especially like house music or electro or something like that, and you're playing like a multiplayer game, you might not realize it, but you're going to be like kind of quantizing to a specific timing in your head. So anything that you do that's not into that beat is going to feel weird and wrong. That's why a lot of people don't listen to like electronic dance music when they're doing something that requires concentration, because it throws you off. Whereas country music, even though it's got like standard like structure, isn't like that. There's not a kick drum every beat, so even though there'll obviously be timings and structure, because it's not as aggressive, it's not going to feel like a metronome, basically. And then if you feel like you're being wonky on this metronome, it might be affecting how you perform. If you've got to be reactionary, like if you're clicking quickly to try and take down some towers on League. So that's one thing I think that could be an explanation, right? Could be a load of bollocks, but like that's kind of what I know as fact from stuff about heartbeats and stuff like that from that. Second of all, like Yeah, I think when it comes to like distracting yourself from anything, like, do you know what I listen to a lot when I'm playing games at the moment? Dragon's Den clips, yeah, on my fucking YouTube. You know, like how everyone has like Gordon Ramsay come up or Joe Rogan or something, yeah. Well, Dragon's Den for some reason gets recommended to me. Shitloads of it, yeah. It used to be Can't Pay Will Take It Away, Liam, but I've watched every episode of it now.
Milked it dry. So
episode. Yeah, exactly. So now I've got Dragon's Den.
you need more daytime television to
exactly. And if you don't know, I've watched every episode of Shark Tank as well, right? It's always on. So Dragon's Den's like the inferior version of Shark Tank. For those that don't know, it's the British version of Shark Tank. I think it comes from China originally. It's called like Dragon's Cave or something like that, and it's basically just, you know, loads of rich people in a room and people like, give us money, here's my idea. So I have Dragon's Den on because it's a lot smoother and quieter, and it like takes like, I think like my brain's working overdrive, especially with something like Sekiro and that. Like, I'm anxious, I'm so engaged in it, and it's just something like a bit of background noise is kind of like cancelling out some of that. So like, I'm only concentrating on what I need to concentrate on, and I'm not overthinking stuff.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying with the fucking big ape in Sekiro.
Exactly.
Or was it the ape? I can't remember.
No, it was definitely the ape. Like, yeah, it must be like how noise cancelling headphones work, innit? It must be counteracting like the part of your brain that's overly active, like the unnecessary bits.
Well, the score is like totally. It's just absolutely essential to what you feel when you're playing or when you're watching anything or whatever. So when when From Software have got the big fucking going off and trying to make you feel like this is the end of the world and you are the only person who can stop it, and there's a fucking big ape, there's an ape coming at you as well. But then if you're listening to Rage Against the Machine or anything that is not intended for, you're just like, well, this is
then
just...
you all of a sudden belittle the game rather than the game.
Yeah, the game's just lost all its like gravitas sort of thing, and you just
like
sort
putting a Benny Hill theme over the end of Titanic or something.
That'd do nothing, but it would imagine that.
The
speeded up sinking and everything. It's just coming up and down.
Yeah, that's the important.
That's got to have been done.
That's got to have been done. Yeah.
It's got to be there.
So the country music is a secret to success if you're playing League of Legends.
Yeah, pro tip.
Maybe it puts him in like a Zen state or something.
Meditative.
It elevates him so he can like just see all the map, all the moves,
lyricism of like Christianity.
Modern country music's quite motivational.
That's what I'm saying.
Where old country like Johnny Cash is all about how like he got shot trying to find his true love in town and stuff like that.
It just sounds like a man scrambling for his next whiskey. But all modern country music seems to be about love, acceptance, and God. So it's like
trucks
trucks and beer and babes. Yeah, man. They got the right idea, country. They were like,
are you guys just basing this entirely on fucking Kid Rock? Or are you...
No. If you listen to any modern country music,
well, I'm not gonna.
It's always about like getting in your Ford F-150.
There's a lot of sports cars.
How the fuck between everything else have you got time to be listening to some fucking country music?
Me and Liam were the cultural ambassadors.
If you're
feel like, do you know what I feel like? I feel like the Prime Minister in the thick of it, and you two are like, no, listen, you're like trying to explain the fucking.
Kulkovsky, I need an update on the bathwater ASAP. Liam,
have you not heard Old Town Road? That's a good recent.
You know Old Town Road,
that's like
right? Lil Nas X.
Yeah, that one based on the Nine Inch Nails song.
Oh, it's sample.
There you fucking go.
There we go.
You fucking cultural.
It's samples. It's not based on it.
That's a lot of getting in my sports car and all that.
Yeah,
right. So that's country, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's classed as country music. It's even got thingy in it, innit? What's
Billy Ray Cyrus?
Achy Breaky Heart, you know?
That feels like extremely pop country though, doesn't it?
Oh, it is, for sure, yeah.
So
Kids disco.
How much that...
Not the real country. Ask Jack.
I doubt that's what he's
Jack, have you got any...
Have you seen A Star Is Born with Bradley Cooper?
Yeah.
Because he's meant to be like a country musician in that.
He is, isn't he? Yeah, country. Yeah.
So,
except his songs are more depressing in that one.
Okay. Yeah, that's a bit more like the scrambling for the whiskey.
If you just like...
This is so far removed from a gaming podcast.
If you go on like the Billboard Top 40, they've got like different categories, and they have a Billboard country. Yeah. Just listen to any song it's always about like the waving the flag, getting beer, barbecues.
God.
Sports cars.
This is it. Yeah. So if you want to be good at League,
I've never heard anything that sounds further away from being up my street. To be honest, that's
I know what you mean. League is very intense, so maybe countries is
exactly. Maybe it's like a nice relaxing quality. But that was a banging email. Nice one. Cheers, October.
I listen to podcasts when we play Apex.
Yeah, it
takes the edge off.
I find that that's just like the same with me with Dragon's Den. The point I'm making is conversational background noise seems to work better for me to relax, I think. And relaxing is key when I need to focus for some reason. Do you know what I mean? Which is weird because it's like a dead intense situation, and I'm like, what do I need? Bit of business pictures. Why? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah.
Do you? How active are you? Are you like thinking, oh, that's a bad pitch? Do you know what I mean? Are you thinking about that?
yeah, quite
or
often.
you?
That's
Quite often, yeah.
It's far too low equity.
Yeah, absolutely. 10 times multiple valuation. Are you nuts? It's a parking company. That's something that happened. Yeah,
You're thinking about that while you're playing the game as well,
Yeah. Normally,
That's
it's when I'm playing stuff like Slay the Spire, where it's like, it's not action. It's like because it's time. So I can. That's my primary focus, and that's my secondary. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I really like to listen to video game music, so I tend not to do that. But the only time, the time that really sticks out for me is when I was trying to play Mass Effect Andromeda, and I was really wanted to progress in the game because I love Mass Effect and I love BioWare games and that, and I just wasn't enjoying it. So I was like, there's like another 20 hours on this planet.
Hey, do you want to know something about the music and that? You said like video game music, yeah? You know about Switch Lite? I've just realised something. I never have the sound on my Switch ever. Do you know? Because I always listen to it in bed when Sean's next to me watching something, or on a train. And like when I'm traveling, I have like Bluetooth headphones and stuff. So I don't have like, because my phone doesn't have a headphone jack, right? I'm one of them wankers, so I have Bluetooth one, but I don't think there's Bluetooth connectivity to the Switch. I don't think so, no. So I don't want to be that guy on the train blasting fucking Donkey Kong Country soundtrack. No. So but then because of that, because I'm so used to it, then when I am in a situation where like I'm by myself, I don't ever crank it up. So I never have the sound. So what the soundtrack to Slay the Spire, Bloodstained, don't know any of it. It doesn't exist.
It's weird. A crime not listening to the Bloodstained soundtrack.
No, honestly, no sound effects or anything like that.
I've always got one earphone in. Really, I've got. So I listen to Laura of the other ear, innit?
Yeah.
So, but I just like popping ear.
I usually have it like quite low if I'm playing a handheld, like 1 or 2 notches on the bar or whatever.
Yeah, I think if I'd normalised it earlier on, then I'd be getting a lot more involved in it. But then it's like
you're playing it mute.
If they made a Nintendo Switch Lite with no
speaker
audio, I'd buy it. Yeah,
should take an extra $5 off the price.
Give me that for 160.
All right, let's do the new games then before we wrap up. Oh, I should mention, by the way, so Jake's wearing that nice t-shirt, and we got given a bunch of t-shirts from Gamer-Born Clothing. We ran a competition in last week's podcast, so if you're a patron and you entered on via the Patreon post, we'll give you another day. We'll give you another day if you want to get your entries in again. There's a post on our Patreon feed, which is very clear and obvious. You'll know which one it is. Just comment in response to that post, and that is how you enter the competition. Okay, so respond to the question on that post, which is what's your favorite piece of in-game wearable gear? So like any bit of clothing, any bit of armor, anything that you can wear in a game. Tell us what you think the best one is in response to that post. So we'll give you should we do it a couple of days, like a day or two maybe?
Yeah.
Give it some time,
and then
because there might be some new patrons signing up. That's a lot. So
and then because we were gonna like announce the winner in the game in the Gamer-Born podcast, I was going to call it.
Yeah, it's
we're not quite that level of sponsorship yet. It's in a fucking football stadium. But we'll just announce the winner on the Patreon feed. So we'll give you another couple of days if you want to enter the competition, and check. Keep an eye out on Patreon. Then we'll do another post announcing the winner. So
we've got the bonus podcast coming up first, which is not going to mention the winner, and then a sec.
Correct, yeah. Mm-hmm. You could win a t-shirt from Gamer-Born Clothing of your choice.
Any t-shirt you want, mate. Yeah. Just go on there, have a look and go, I'll fancy that one.
There's some nice ones. Me and Liam wore ours last week, and then Jake's wearing that one now. Yeah. Do that. So let's do the new releases. So there's a couple of nice ones this week. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order is out, Nintendo Switch exclusive on July the 19th, so that's a Friday. Mm-hmm. Liam, you're looking forward to this?
I am. I'm a big fan of the Ultimate Alliance games. This one's quite different though. As far as I know, it's still an action RPG like the other ones, but the other ones were made by... The first one was made by Raven Software, and then the second one was made by Vicarious Visions.
Yeah.
But this one's made by Team Ninja in Japan, who made...
Is it?
Yeah, who made Neo, Dead or Alive. What else did they make? Something else recently.
Didn't they make Ninja Gaiden?
Ninja Gaiden, that's it,
What did they make recently? They did make something recently.
They're making Neo 2 at the minute.
Right.
I've seen their name come up for something.
Dead or Alive 6, I think it would have been their last game.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
It was,
And it's a Switch exclusive, whereas the others were on. Well, they were on like everything really.
Yeah.
PS2,
PS2.
PC, Wii,
Yeah.
PSP, Xbox. They're on
Been
everything.
ported everywhere, haven't they?
Yeah, but this one's a Switch exclusive because it's being published
Yeah.
and funded by Nintendo.
It's 1 to 4 players, like Liam said, action RPG.
Action
it's got,
RPG,
sort of
local
more
co-op as
top-down
well.
perspective sort of thing.
I didn't
I'm
know
looking
Team
forward
Ninja
to
were
it.
doing that. I'm all of a sudden a lot more interested.
Yeah, it looks
Vicarious
good.
Visions are the people behind the Crash stuff.
Ah, is that
Crash,
them?
yeah,
Right.
the Crash trilogy, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
They made the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2.
Yeah, so I saw like Kale was a big fan of that one and played a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't, not that interested in it. But this is a lot more comic book than the films,
Yeah.
right? So this isn't
Yes.
just like Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury kind of
No,
thing.
no, it's not like based off the MCU or anything. This one
So
is.
there's loads of is there playable characters that aren't like
Well,
known,
I mean,
like
straight away
Squirrel?
you can have Captain America and Wolverine on your team if you want.
There we go.
Can't do that in the
Wolverine.
movies.
Ex-
Well, you can now, but they haven't done
Yeah,
it
yeah.
yet.
Yeah,
since
yeah.
Disney's conquered the world. But
Yeah.
so yeah, and there's loads of like other characters in it. Spider-Gwen's in it. Miles Morales is in it
Right.
as Spider-Man. You got pretty much every version
Yeah.
of Spider-Man as well.
Big roster of characters. then,
Big
I guess.
roster, and they've already announced the Fantastic Four will come to it as well in future DLC, and the Marvel Knights will come to it as well.
They're very playable games, like the original.
They are
thing,
very
aren't they?
easy
Yeah.
to pick up.
Makes a lot of sense on the Switch. I really like Diablo 3 on the Switch, which I
Mm.
guess isn't a million miles away from the sort of.
It's got a new camera, this one as well, where it's got a top-down camera, like
Yeah.
the old Ultimate Alliance games, and then it's got a behind-the-shoulder camera if you want to get a bit more closer to
Nice.
the action.
Yeah,
Very
that's good.
good.
Because you know what can be a point of contention for people. Something as
Hmm.
what I would consider irrelevant as a camera angle. Like people really, and no disrespect, like some people who like can't watch a film if it's not in their language, right?
Yeah.
It's like that with these camera angles. Like some people just don't like a camera angle. They can't
Yeah.
play the game in it.
Yeah,
I was feeling that
So-
about
I'm already planning out my team in my head.
Smash Brothers. I was feeling like the camera's too far away. Innit? I don't know.
Oh, that is a weird.
Oh,
one.
of
Yeah.
Ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, super.
Mm.
That was the most recent one, wasn't
Remember that game?
it? Yeah, exactly. No,
God,
I
that's so weird. That feels like it was like years ago.
Yeah.
You know.
It was last December, wasn't it?
yeah, I just felt like the camera's
Fucking
too far
So
away.
what, like 7
be honest
months
with it.
ago?
What's this team? Talk to us about what have we got.
I don't know. No, I'm drawing a blank now.
Is it like kind of roles, like a tank
Yeah, so
character, like
each-
say the Hulk?
Each
And then is it
character
like DPS?
has, yeah, it is. So each character has like a different skill set. Really, they've got like a set. They've got a passive skill, and I think it's a couple active skills.
Yeah,
And then yeah, so like Hulk is a tank. You got Iron Man who's more DPS, and it's sort of like just building a team round like that. So you can have all
Yeah.
DPS characters if you want. If you just want to like mow down all the mobs
Yeah.
and stuff, but then when you get to a boss fight, you might get taken out easily
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
haven't got someone to tank for damage for you and stuff like that.
Is it going to be like freemium kind of stuff? Because I remember like one of the Marvels, that might have been a mobile one, was quite freemium style. It was like this, I think, but you have to pay a lot.
No, this one it's full price game, and then it's got an expansion pass as well.
Oh right, you know
So-
what? This is sounding good. I'm not that into ARPGs yet, but I know enough about Marvel.
To be fair,
like-
it's more beat 'em up than
Yeah.
ARPG.
Right,
It's,
right,
the
right,
RPG
right, right.
mechanics are very lightweight in them.
okay.
It's
okay.
more like bit more button mashy sort
Yeah.
of beat 'em up type games.
yeah,
Sounds
They're
like
fun
it'll
though.
work
I
on the
really
Switch.
like them,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to this
yeah.
one,
Switch makes a lot of sense.
especially with like Marvel hype being at its highest
Yeah,
it has been in years.
always interesting to see it when a game's had 3 entries in a series developed by 3 developers. I say always interesting. I don't know any other game I can think
Yeah,
of.
any other occasions where this has happened?
Maybe
It
Call of
is-
Duty did it.
It's
But
a bit weird though. Yeah,
yeah, so let's see how this one fares up because that's the thing. It's going to be. It's not the same people working on it. It's nowhere near. So
Exactly, it's
Yeah.
such a departure from the old the old ones that I'm really interested to see what they bring
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Really,
I'm interested because it's now on paper seems dead interesting, but like it's getting nowhere near the hype from
been quiet.
from where I am.
very
my neck of the
old.
woods.
I suppose because it's an old IP, isn't it?
Ye-
The last Ultimate Alliance game was like 2008 or no, like 2010 or something like that.
True, Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been ages since there's been one.
I don't think it has a very strong like brand. Like you hear Marvel Ultimate Alliance if you're very casual. I don't think you immediately go, oh, that's that beat 'em up game from
Exactly, yeah.
it doesn't
It's not
It
like
sounds a bit like a
Spider-Man on-
mobile game. I think.
yeah
Like PS4 Spider-Man, you hear that, you pretty much know immediately what you're getting. Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas Ultimate Alliance, it does sound a bit mobile game-ish, to
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly. It sounds like a fucking pachinko machine. Comes
A
up.
bit,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
But I'm looking forward to it.
So there's that, and
Yeah,
there's
it
also Lost Ember, which looks really nice. It's indie.
Yeah.
I'd better say the fucking actual details first. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So it's a multi-platform game coming on the same day, July the 19th. It's developed by a company called Moon Eye Studios. So it's like an indie, I guess, exploration game where you sort of go around as different animals and you like walk into them, like in Game of Thrones. And you can play as a wolf and a bird and stuff, and it just looks like a nice sort of looking art game, I guess, which looks pretty nice.
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, I saw this. It's kickstarted, I think.
So there's 2 nice games coming up this week, so keep an eye out for those. It's not been too quiet this year. I've got to say, I feel like I'm going back and forth from thinking there's fuck all out to thinking.
I think
it feels like there's been at least one game a week.
Yeah, there's been something, isn't there?
I think this month, the rest of the month or whatever, is looking really quiet. Something that people might want to consider if any AAA development heads are listening. Maybe release a game towards the end of July.
I think this would be a big time as well. You know, people finishing. People go on holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
School's finished.
Yeah. Summer
people
love's
come
about
home
to
from
start.
uni.
Exactly. Amazon Prime, they've got Prime Day on and all this. So like, if the biggest
concert,
company in the world, they are Taylor Swift.
Which is weird.
I think that if the biggest company in the world knows it's time to start launching some products, maybe games. Yeah. I can't think of many big games that come out in July, as far as I know. January, July.
Historically, you mean ever or just this?
No, just like off the top of my head, like past few years.
It's a weird one. It's a weird time slot, but
used to be the same. January used to be like a wasteland, didn't it?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
All the best games come out in January.
Exactly. Like after Christmas is like the best time for games now, right?
Everyone's got money.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. So now maybe people need to start doing it in July, isn't it? Let's make July the new January. And January was the new November, wasn't it? So now let's just keep going, isn't it? Let's get every month looking banging.
On that note, to be fair, the games industry's growing so quickly. There's so many fucking Indian AAA developers now.
Yeah.
That
I thought you said Indian AAA developers. I was like, name one Indian AAA.
That's what I said.
No, Indian. Yeah. Right. Oh, is there?
No.
I don't know.
Listen, we got a bonus podcast coming up for you, which is going to be packed full of stuff. Stranger Things we've been watching.
Toy Story 4, Midsummer, and
4,
Spider-Man.
Midsummer.
It's even more, I've
loads
done
of stuff.
nothing but watch Netflix.
Liam's been gearing up. Yeah, Liam's not even slept this week. We're ready for it. So if you want to listen to us talk about telly, not just games, because we are humans.
If you're a patron, look forward to that. If not, join us on Patreon and you get 2 bonus podcasts.
Yeah, $1 a month is like something like 75p a month, isn't it?
Oh yeah, this is for everyone.
It's like an extremely inconsistent, cheaper Netflix. 75p though, isn't it?
It's a better name,
Special moves
So if you're not a patron, join us on Patreon. Everyone who supports us on Patreon gets access to the bonus podcast. And
undying gratitude.
And that as well. Yeah. See you next time. Bye.